Alrighty guys, what we're going to go ahead and do is I want to show you the last tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this just a little bit. We did the feed data tutorial, right? Last time we talked about the data, how we instituted the feed data class that has classes on the inside of it. We have the asynchronous or asynchronous or whatever. Methods in here. We have the syndication feed. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how your app actually, communicates with the XAML and the CS, which is your C#. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to go to app.xaml first, because you're probably wondering, how does my XAML know how to communicate with my C#? So what you're going to go ahead and do is click the app.xaml. Now what we need to do is we need to add some information here. And what we're going to add is we're going to basically add a local resource. This is where you put your normal, let's say you want brush styles, let's say you want different type of stuff to be included in every part of the app so that all places can access. So you put them in dictionaries so that your computer can look them up by what they call X keys, okay? And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So first I need to tell the XAML of the app, hey, we got some C# here, we got the feed data, it's a class. I'm probably going to call that eventually, so I want to just let you know it's there. So what we're going to do is type in local colon, type in feed data source, and then we're going to type x key, x colon key equals, we're going to call that feed, lowercase, feed data source. And then we're going to go ahead and close that out with the slash and then the greater than sign. Okay, so we just let our XAML know what was going on here and what type of resources it has available. Now what I want you to do is I want you to double click over here in Solution Explorer. You're going to double click this right here and bring up this app.xaml.cs. If you don't have using threading.task, go ahead and click that in there. Okay, so basically it tells you that we're using multiple threads, meaning let's say you got one thing going on and you want another thing to go on, so they're happening and it's threading within the same program. Then we got the Windows.web syndication. I just want you to go ahead and throw that in there because that's what we used in the class. Just in case we use it, I'm not sure if I'm going to throw it in there yet. Okay, now here, if you guys remember, the app.xaml and the app.cs is basically showing you the application's behavior. So let's say you're online, it needs to check and see if you're online. If you're suspending, how do I unsuspend from, let's say you pause out of the application, go back and change something on Windows, or you're working in something else. How do I pause everything so that right when the user comes back to use my app, it's right there and it comes off from unsuspended. So what we have here is this on launched method, which is basically talking about when your application is launched, what do I need to do? So what we need to talk about right here is we used asynchronous. I need to figure out how that's said because I'm really messing that up. Asynchronous methods, and we're going to say we need to change this public override void on launched so that it takes the async. Okay, so this is now going to be a protected async override void for the on launched, which means that I need to change. I need to go ahead and add some things down here so that we get this green squiggly to go away. And this is a void. So right here, where we at? Alright, under this create frame to act as navigation context and navigate to the first page. So basically what your app does in app.xaml.cs, this is the behavior of your app. I'm keep beating this into you and keep saying it over and over again, but this is where we're going to put our code right here. So it'll make a new frame to show the user, and then it's going to go ahead and ask for some code. So what we need to put in here is we actually need to put in a couple different variables that ask, is there a connection? And I'll show you what type of namespace we have to use. We're not going to declare it above. I'm actually going to declare it inside the method, which I'll show you how to do that. So let's say var as variable. We're going to call this connection profile. Okay, equals windows.networking.connectivity network information, there we go, get internet, I can't spell, internet connection profile, there we go, there's a method there. Now what we're going to say is if this connection profile that we got is not equal to null. So if it's not equal to null, then we're going to say feed data source feed, we're going to call it lowercase feed data source equals feed data source, and then we're going to go ahead and close parentheses app.current.resources, okay? Because we want to show it that here's where we put our resources, and now we're going to name the name that we called it as the X key in the app.xaml. So it's going to be lowercase feed data source is what we called it, okay? So now it knows that it has that available to it. Now what we're going to do is another if then statement, okay, if else. So if feed data source is not equal to null either, not equal to null, then what we're going to do is we're going to add another if feed data source dot feeds dot count equals 0. So in other words, if it equals 0, then we need the application to go ahead and wait for some information that we can have for our application, okay, and that we can show our user. So feed data source dot get, and this is the method that we made under feed data source. So get, and we're calling this method feeds async. And this will probably be difficult to understand at the very beginning because you're calling methods from other classes in other areas. That's okay. It'll be something that you'll get over pretty easily. We're going to say else here, and we want to go ahead and create another variable because what we need is if there's an error, we need to show them a way to be able to connect to the internet or talk to them and show them, hey, I don't have a network connection available, so I need to go ahead and throw up a message dialog. And we're going to go ahead and do that. So message dialog equals new windows.ui.popups.message dialog. Okay. Oops. Message dialog. And then we need to come up with what we're going to say to them. So we're going to say an internet. Let's just say an internet connection is needed to download feeds. Download the feeds. Please check your connection and restart the app. Okay, this is the same thing that happens with Windows Phone applications. When you do those, you need to be checking to make sure that they have it. Okay, now what we're going to do is go var to make another variable. We're going to make this the result. We're going to equal that to message, and we need to show this message dialog now. Two-part. You need to make it and you need to show it. So show async. I'm going to close that out. Boom, boom. So that's all we need for here. Now I don't know if it's going to cut me off. It probably is right now. I got like 2 minutes. Now what we're going to make, guys, is we're actually going to add a couple pages. Hopefully you're going to be able to see pretty soon what it is that we need to do. I'm going to go ahead and say build, and we need to save all this first. So let's go up here to the double save whammy. We're going to build. I'm going to build solution. We're going to see what our little output window says down here. It's going to say output. It's going to say window, no definition. So, okay, output. Got that there. Error list. Do we have any? None. And it's not going to actually show us anything because we don't have anything up yet. Check the next tutorial. We just added this. We're going to be adding some pages. Then we're going to get into the XAML, the user interface, right after this. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.